On my main video essay channel, I recently released a video about the original Resident Evil, in which I talk about trauma and the origins and inspirations for the game. You should definitely check it out if you are a fan of the Resident Evil series. But when I was researching for that video, I stumbled across the original inspiration for much of the zombie media we have today, Night of the Living Dead. This movie, directed by George A. Romero, is touted as one of the first zombie movies that we have ever gotten. And with that idea, that is the modern interpretation of a zombie, in which a zombie is an undead person who comes back to life by either a bite or infection or whatever. In this movie, they talk about it being radiation, possibly from space. So essentially, the corpses of people reanimate and they become bloodthirsty. They want to eat the flesh of the living, to consume a life that they have been robbed of. And with that idea, zombies can be stopped by two ways, and that was defined within this movie. And that is one, a blow to the head. Either a headshot or a large whack to the head will stop them in their tracks. And two, fire. Anything that can burn them and then turn their brains into ash will prevent them from reanimating again. That is why so many zombie media today have headshots and fire as one of the main ways to stop a zombie. And that all comes from this 1968 film. But when I watched it, I found something kind of crazy with it. The movie was a lot more about racism. The main character of this movie is played by an actor named Duane Jones. Duane Jones plays the role of Ben, a black man, surrounded by the rest of his cast of white Americans. And this comes about 4 years after the Civil Rights Act was passed. So to see a black male protagonist in this film was a little surprising. And not only that, we have both a brother and sister. At the beginning of the movie, the brother gets eaten by zombies, and the sister runs away and finds Duane Jones, Ben, inside this house, and sort of becomes hysterical. She becomes so distraught that Duane Jones, Ben, literally smacks her across the face. A black man on screen smacks a white woman across the face in an attempt to calm her down. That was pretty surprising that it would be displayed like that. And I know George A. Romero did not say that he wanted to make this a political statement or something about racism, but by doing so, he made probably one of the most anti-racist decisions. He said he casted Duane Jones simply because he was the best actor for the job. He did not look at skin color. He saw him and he thought he was perfect for the role. And the rest of the movie plays out where a bunch of other survivors all get together and there becomes a lot of interpersonal drama in which they don't feel like they can trust each other or they're not going to make the best choices for the whole group. And so they fight. The characters eventually end up killing each other, with Duane Jones, a black man, shooting a white man in the film. Most of the characters get eaten by zombies or exploded and everything, and it is a heartbreaking film, to be honest. But then at the end of the movie, when everyone has all died, only one character remains, and that is the black character of Ben. And at the end of the movie, he gets mistaken for a zombie, just peeking out the window. And the American government shoots him. They shoot a black man under the idea that he was a monster. He was a zombie reanimated. And if that is not a statement about how black Americans have been treated for so long, and even today, that is such a powerful statement of the movie. The showcase that the monsters, these zombies, are not just the monsters of the film. People in zombie media always turn to monsters by the end. If you look at The Walking Dead, like they become savages because of all of the environments and the whole life that they have to go through in such a dangerous and life-threatening world. And to showcase that the American government was taking control of the zombie apocalypse of Night of the Living Dead, and just to gun down a black man at the end of the movie, and that is how the movie ends, is a very heartbreaking piece of media. If you have not seen the movie, I definitely recommend you check it out. The first 30 minutes of the movie is quite slow. There was like huge stretches where no one was talking, nothing was happening, except that we're building. But once these sort of interpersonal conflicts start to happen, you start to see a lot of these dynamics take place. And having a black male character as the protagonist of the film was something that spoke a lot of volumes today. And though the director did not intend for this to be such a big deal, watching the movie myself, I could not see just how unjust the treatment of everyone becomes in a sort of dystopian society. And the sort of calamitous event brings out monsters in all of us. And in fact, the more civilized group, the army coming through and just clearing away the devastation and restoring order, kills the only living survivor without a second guess. They saw him, they assumed he was a zombie, and that is the end of the movie. And that is a powerful but poignant statement that is quite depressing. So, even though this movie has been a huge inspiration to all of zombie media, I can't help but think about the idea of what it represents in terms of racism and in terms of how people become monsters. So, that is what I thought about Night of the Living Dead. Again, if you haven't seen my video essay about Resident Evil, you should definitely check it out. And I compare the images in Resident Evil with the images of Night of the Living Dead. And also, if you can find a copy of Night of the Living Dead, maybe rent it from your library. It's how I watched it on Canopy. If you stream movies from your library, you could do that with Canopy. That is how I watched this film, and it was a really interesting insight to a movie filmed over half a century ago. Wow, more than half a century. Whew, time, man. But anyway, that's what I think about the movie. If you have seen the movie, let me know, and if you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like and subscribing for more. As always, check the links in the description for my main video essay channel and my Patreon to support the channel and recommend media for me to review next. Thank you to all my current Patreon members whose memberships keep this channel afloat. I am so grateful you are all here with me. But that is all for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.